Hear me now, my dear one. It is I, your creator. You did not find these words by chance. You were drawn here, not by curiosity, not by coincidence, but by the movement of my unseen hand. I led you here because the time has come. This is not a random moment. It is sacred. It is appointed. It is my voice breaking through the noise. You've carried burdens in silence. You've stood in places where no one understood the weight you were holding. And though you questioned if I still saw, if I still listened, I did. I always have. I never looked away. Every quiet tear, every inner ache, every whispered prayer, I received it all with tender attention. While the world kept moving, I stood still beside you. I was never absent. I was preparing this very moment, a meeting not of emotion but of eternal truth. You asked if I was still near. I am not only near, I am speaking. And I am speaking directly to the deepest part of you. The spiritual veil has been pulled back. Above you, my realm is open. Around you, my presence stirs. Within you, my word is beginning to take root. What you feel is not imagination, it is alignment. What you sense is not your mind, it is your spirit finally hearing what I've been speaking all along. This is your moment. The words are not distant, they are living, they are yours. Listen closely. I am here. I have always been here. You were not forgotten. You were being preserved. You have walked through days when you questioned everything, not just the world around you, but even yourself. You wondered if I still remembered the promises whispered to your heart long ago. You wondered if I had overlooked your name while favor seemed to fall on others. But let me make this clear. I never once forgot you. You were not buried beneath the noise of the world. You were hidden within my keeping. The silence you felt was not my absence, it was my protection. I was holding you in a place where eyes could not reach, where judgment could not find you, where the plans formed against you could not gain access. I covered you with my own hand, not because you were weak, but because what I placed inside you was holy, and holy things must be shielded until the appointed time. Yes, I saw the questions forming in your heart. Why the delay? Why the isolation? Why do I feel invisible? And I tell you now, it was not rejection, it was preservation. There are seasons when I hide those I love the most, not to punish, but to prepare. I remove them from the spotlight, not because they are unworthy, but because they are too valuable to be mishandled. The delay was not denial. It was divine timing. You were being made ready for something greater than you understood. I was refining you in the stillness, sharpening your discernment in the quiet. While others ran forward in haste, I taught you how to stand firm in patience. While noise tried to distract you, I was whispering truth into your spirit. Every hidden season was a divine cocoon. What looked like being passed over was me shaping something weighty within you. My dear one, I did not leave you in the silence. I met you there. I drew near while others stepped back. I paid attention while others overlooked. You did not need to prove your worth to me. I knew it from the beginning. And because I knew what was to come, I sheltered you from battles you didn't see, conversations you weren't meant to hear, and snares you were never supposed to fall into. You are now stepping into a moment that has been prepared long before you saw the first glimpse of change. And as you enter this new space, remember, what I preserved, I now release. What I hid, I now unveil. Not because the struggle is over, but because you are now equipped to stand in the place I have prepared. You were not forgotten, you were preserved. Your private tears reached my eternal courtroom. I saw them, every one of them. The nights when you tried to be strong for everyone else, but the moment you were alone, the tears came. The days you went about your tasks with quiet obedience, while your heart felt like it was slowly unraveling. The moments you tried to smile, even though your spirit was grieving 1,000 unspoken things. You didn't cry for attention. You didn't fall apart for the world to see. You brought your pain to me, quietly, privately, with the kind of raw honesty only I could understand. And I did not just witness your grief. I gathered it. I held each tear as evidence, not of weakness, but of faith. The tears you cried in silence were placed before my throne as a testimony. They spoke louder than any sermon. They carried a weight no human words could ever convey. You didn't need to defend yourself. Your tears testified for you. And in my realm, I listened. You see, in the courts of heaven, truth is not just what is said, it is what is lived. And you lived faithfully, even in sorrow. You stood when it hurt. You gave when you had nothing left. You kept trusting when your heart ached with uncertainty. And because of this, a ruling has been made. The accuser came, as he always does, bringing every failure, every flaw, every regret to my courtroom. He tried to use your pain against you. He tried to frame your waiting as wasted time. He spoke of your weakness as if it were proof of your unworthiness. But I silenced him with a word, ruled in favor. Not because you performed perfectly, but because you stayed close to me. Not because you never fell, but because you always got back up. Not because you were never weary, but because you trusted me through the weariness. Your private tears reached my eternal courtroom, and I responded with justice. I have declared restoration over the areas where loss tried to define you. I have spoken peace into the places where sorrow tried to root itself. I have rendered the accusations null. They no longer hold power. The voice that whispered shame has been silenced. The weight that pressed you down is being lifted. The chains that clung to your spirit are breaking. And now, what you once held in grief, you will carry in strength. What you once questioned in tears, you will declare with clarity. The grief that shaped your past is becoming the oil of gladness in your new season. Let no one tell you those tears were in vain. They were seen, they were felt, and they were answered. You were not overlooked in heaven. You were the subject of my justice. And now, the gavel has fallen. The courtroom is silent, the ruling stands. You are free, you are vindicated, you are mine. This is not just relief, this is full restoration. You thought you were asking for something small, just enough strength to get by, just enough light to make it through another day. But I saw deeper. I heard more than your words. I felt the cry beneath your prayers, the quiet longing for wholeness, not just survival. And because I know the full weight of your journey, I am not giving you a temporary fix. I am giving you resurrection. You asked for peace from the pressure. I am restoring the place where the pressure was formed. You asked to stop the pain. I am healing the source of the wound. You asked for escape. I am making you whole right where the pain tried to break you. I do not deal in half measures. I do not offer relief while leaving the root untouched. When I begin a work in you, I finish it. When I speak restoration, it is not surface level. It is complete, down to the foundation. You've seen glimpses before, moments of encouragement, bursts of light in the dark. But what I am doing now is not a passing moment. This is a shift in your reality. This is divine reconstruction. This is me rebuilding what was torn, restoring what was lost, redeeming what others dismissed as ruined. I am aligning your heart with heaven. I am aligning your steps with purpose. I am aligning your past, your pain, your process, all of it, into a testimony of my goodness. You will not exit this season limping. You will rise with strength that could only have come from me. The area of your deepest loss will become the place of your greatest glory. The wound that once defined you will now testify of my healing power. Nothing will be wasted, no tear ignored, no broken moment overlooked. I am restoring your ability to feel joy without fear of it being taken. I am restoring your confidence, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that stands steady even in silence. I am restoring your spiritual appetite. You will hunger again for what is holy, not because of obligation, but because your spirit has tasted truth. This is not just relief from sorrow. This is the divine reversal of everything the enemy tried to steal. This is restoration, full, lasting, holy. And when you look back, you will no longer say, I barely made it. You will say, the hand of the Lord carried me, healed me, raised me. This is not your ending. This is the beginning of everything you were truly made for. The knowing inside you was not imagined. It was revelation. There were moments you couldn't explain, just a quiet knowing deep inside. You sensed when something was wrong, even when everything looked right. You felt the truth beneath the surface, even when others tried to mask it. And though you doubted yourself at times, that inner voice never fully went silent. Let me tell you now, that was not your imagination, that was me. I have been speaking to you all along, not always in loud ways, but in subtle stirrings. Not always in language, but in awareness, in clarity that you didn't learn, but simply understood. What you saw in people, the subtle shift in their tone, the unspoken motives, the quiet dishonesty, that was discernment, not suspicion. What you felt before the storm came, the stirring, the ache, the urge to prepare, That was spiritual sight, not anxiety. You were seeing with the eyes of the spirit, not the mind. And because you trusted what I showed you, even when it made you feel different, even when it set you apart, I am increasing it now. I am sharpening your discernment. I am deepening your clarity. I am expanding your capacity to see what is real. You have not been delusional. You have been aware. Others may have questioned your silence. They didn't know you were listening more than speaking. They didn't realize you were perceiving beyond their words. You were reading the atmosphere, watching the patterns, sensing the shift. This kind of knowing cannot be taught by man. It is imparted by me. And now I want you to trust it even more. Not to judge others, but to navigate the days ahead with precision. You don't need loud confirmation. You don't need public approval. You have my insight, and that is enough. I place this seeing in you not to elevate you above others, but to preserve your peace in a noisy world. When others are confused, you will stand clear. When deception spreads, you will recognize the truth. When decisions must be made, you will move with quiet confidence. This knowing within you is not just a gift, it is your compass. It is how I will guide you through seasons where logic fails. It is how I will lead you when the next step seems hidden, and it is how I will protect you from traps you don't yet see. Trust what I've placed in you. Not every voice deserves your energy. Not every opportunity is divine. But when I speak, your spirit will know, and you will move, not with fear, but with certainty. Do not dismiss what you sense simply because others do not see it. What I reveal to you is not for the validation of others. It is for your obedience. And in time, the clarity you walk in will become the safety others need. They will seek you not for your opinion, but for your peace. They will ask not because you are loud, but because you are anchored. This is the fruit of revelation. Steady vision, quiet strength, deep peace. You were not guessing, you were perceiving, you were not confused, you were awakened. And now I am calling you to walk boldly in that knowing. Because what comes next will require eyes that see beyond the surface and hearts that trust without proof. The shift you felt wasn't coincidence, it was divine timing. You began to sense it long before you could name it. A quiet unrest, a gentle discontent. Things around you still looked the same, but something inside you had changed. The old patterns no longer fit. The pace that once carried you now felt too slow or too loud. Conversations drained you. Environments that once felt safe now made your soul uneasy. And you wondered, what is happening to me? But I tell you, this was not coincidence. It was my timing. I was stirring something deep in your spirit that could no longer remain asleep. I was awakening what had been hidden beneath the layers of expectation, fatigue, and survival. That unease was not confusion. It was movement. It was me shifting you from where you were into who you are becoming. You weren't falling apart. You were being unraveled, gently, so that the parts of you I never planted could be released. I do not let anything collapse unless it was built on the wrong foundation. And I do not allow discomfort unless it is the invitation to alignment. When your spirit no longer felt at home in familiar places, that was the sign that the threshold had been reached. You could not stay there. Not because you were failing, but because you were growing. I designed you for expansion. Not in status, but in clarity. Not in reputation, but in purpose. The heaviness you carried wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were being stretched into strength. The grief you felt for what once was, that too had purpose. It softened your heart, made you let go, made you listen. What seemed like the end was actually me pulling you out of an identity that was too small for what I've planned. And yes, I let the dissonance build. I allowed the stillness to linger. Not because I was distant, but because I was preparing a holy discomfort that would make it impossible for you to stay the same. You are not breaking down, you are unfolding. What looked like delay was preparation. What felt like isolation was insulation. I was forming a deeper root system beneath the surface where no one could see. So when the shift came, you wouldn't be shaken. You are being repositioned, not removed. You are being expanded, not erased. And you are ready. The threshold has been crossed. Let the new begin. Your identity is not what the world assigned you. From your earliest moments, the world has tried to name you. It labeled you by your performance, your appearance, your mistakes, your pain. It tried to make you fit into categories I never authored, roles you didn't choose, burdens you were never meant to carry. Somewhere along the way, you began to believe those names. You wore them like armor. The strong one, the fixer, the outsider, the failure. And yet none of them were true. None of them ever came from me. I do not define you by your survival strategies. I do not call you by your fears. I do not see you through the lens of your past. I see you through the finished work I began when I formed you. You are not your trauma. You are not your resume. You are not your broken relationships. You are not your bank account or your accolades. You are not the one who was overlooked, dismissed, or misunderstood. You are not too late, too much, or not enough. You are mine. When I look at you, I see someone marked by grace, sealed by mercy, and held by purpose. I see someone who has endured more than they speak of, but who kept walking anyway. I see someone who doubted, yes, but still prayed. Someone who wanted to quit, but didn't. Someone who felt forgotten but never stopped reaching for me in the dark. That is who you are, faithful in the silence, beloved in the chaos, chosen even in weakness, and that identity cannot be revoked. I placed eternity in you. That is why you've always sensed there was something more. Even when you couldn't explain it, even when others didn't understand, you carried a knowing that you were not created to simply blend in. You have never truly fit the molds they gave you because you were never meant to. You were formed for something higher. Your very existence is an echo of heaven. The gifts I placed in you are not random. The way you see, the way you love, the way your heart aches for what is real. That's not sensitivity, it's spiritual insight. That's not brokenness, it's divine capacity. And I am awakening it fully now. You don't need to apologize for growing. You don't need to shrink so others feel comfortable. You don't need to keep performing for acceptance that was never theirs to give. You were accepted from the beginning, not by your works, but by my word. Not by what you do, but by who you are. And who you are is not up for debate. Heaven has already spoken. Let go of every title that was rooted in fear. Release every version of yourself that existed only to survive. I am calling forth the original you, the one who trusted easily, loved deeply, and dreamed freely before the world told you to dim your light. You are not being asked to become someone new. You are being returned to someone true. And I will walk with you every step of that return. I will remind you daily, you are not a problem to fix. You are a light to reveal. You are not disqualified. You are dearly loved. You are not behind. You are right on time. And even now, even here, I call you by your real name, my own. The opposition against you has been overturned. There were moments you couldn't explain, moments when the weight on your spirit felt heavier than what the day could justify. Moments when everything around you seemed still, yet something pressed against your chest, as if you were under judgment for a crime you couldn't name. You sensed the resistance in the atmosphere, the tension in conversations, the subtle warfare surrounding your peace. And though others may have told you it was just stress, just emotion, you knew better. Deep within, you felt the battle, not with people, but with forces unseen. Let me affirm this truth to your spirit. You were right. There was opposition. There were accusations. There was a case being built against you, not in human courts, but in the realm where spirits speak and eternal truths are weighed. The one who opposes you brought charges before me. He laid out every misstep, every regret, every word you wish you could take back. He tried to use your brokenness as evidence against your future. He thought the shame would be enough to silence you forever. But I did not remain silent. I stepped into the courtroom, and I overruled every charge. I examined the details. I saw the full picture. I weighed your struggle, your intent, your heart that never stopped reaching for me, even in the mess. I saw the pain beneath the choices, the sincerity inside the sorrow. And then I spoke a word that changed everything. Not guilty. I did not say it because you were flawless, but because you are mine. Because my compassion runs deeper than your failures. Because the blood that speaks on your behalf is louder than any accusation whispered against you. And with that ruling, every chain began to break. Every voice that condemned you lost its power. The spiritual weight pressing on your chest, that was the pressure of accusation. But now, the verdict has been released. You are not condemned. You are not imprisoned. You are not stained by the past. You are free. Let this truth flood your spirit like living water. Heaven no longer holds anything against you. There is no more trial. There is no more sentence. The case is closed. The gavel has fallen. The judgment has been rendered, not by man, but by the Most High. And that judgment is this: you are covered, you are cleansed, and you are clear to walk forward. So when the enemy comes to remind you of what you were, when memories try to bind you, when the old guilt tries to creep back in, return to this ruling. Speak it aloud if you must. Declare it with confidence. The highest court has ruled. The one who sees all has dismissed every charge. I walk in freedom, not fear. I move in grace, not shame. You are no longer on trial. You are already chosen. And no spiritual force can overrule what I have declared. You are mine, and nothing, not even your past, can change that. Now you must choose. The gate is open, but not forever. This moment is not like the others. This is not just another opportunity to hear and feel and move on unchanged. This is a sacred turning point. A spiritual doorway has opened before you, not seen with human eyes, but real, pulsing with eternal weight. And I tell you plainly, it will not stay open forever. I have cleared the way, I have silenced the voices, I have broken the chains, but what comes next is not my decision. It is yours. I will not force you through the gate. I will not push you into your future. I have made the invitation, but your yes is required. Not a partial yes, not a hesitant maybe. This moment requires your full surrender. This is the kind of moment that shifts generations, the kind that rewrites legacy, the kind that only appears once and then moves on if left unanswered. That pull you feel in your chest, it is me. That urgency you feel in your bones, that's how you know this is divine timing. Your spirit recognizes what your mind cannot yet comprehend, that this moment is holy and it must not be delayed. Let go of what's behind you. Let go of the need to have every detail figured out. Let go of the voice that says you're not ready. What you need will meet you on the other side of obedience. The clarity you seek is waiting beyond your yes. You were never meant to carry your old identity through this new threshold. Release it. Lay it down. You don't need to understand everything to move. You just need to trust the one who is already waiting beyond the veil. I am not far. I am not distant. I am standing at the gate. I am calling you with the voice that shaped your soul. And I am promising this: if you say yes, you will not regret it. If you surrender, you will not fall. You may feel uncertain, but I am certain. You may feel weak, but I am strong. I am already holding the future in my hand, not just for you, but for everything connected to you. Your yes today becomes the seed of breakthrough tomorrow. Your yes carries ripple effects you cannot yet see. This is not just about you. It is about every life that will be touched by the light I place in you. So I ask you now, with all the love and power of heaven, will you walk through the gate I have opened? Will you leave behind the weight of what was and step into the freedom of what is? You are not being called to perfection. You are being called to permission. Permission to rise. Permission to change. Permission to walk in truth. Say yes with your whole heart. Say yes with your next breath. Say yes and watch what unfolds. The gate is open. I am here, and I am waiting, not in judgment, but in joy. Not in wrath, but in readiness. Your journey forward begins now, not later. The next chapter is already written, but it won't turn itself. Let this be your moment. Let it begin with a simple word: yes. This is your moment to rise, not because everything makes sense, but because your spirit knows it's time. You do not need full understanding to obey. You only need trust. Trust that I've gone before you. Trust that I will walk with you. Trust that what I've spoken is true. Say this aloud or let it echo softly within. I hear you. I receive what you say. I agree with heaven's word over me. These are not empty words. They carry weight. Your agreement activates what I have prepared. Your yes aligns the natural with the divine. You are not being broken. You are being awakened. The version of you that was shaped by fear and striving is dissolving. The real you, the one formed in my image, grounded in truth, marked by peace, is rising. So walk forward, not with urgency, but with quiet confidence. Speak less to prove, more to bless. Move with sacred assurance, knowing that I have called you. This is not just another moment of inspiration. This is my intervention. This is your release. And this, my dear one, is the moment I chose to speak, not for your comfort, but for your calling. Rise. The time is now.